Aleph is the first letter of the Semitic abjads, including Phoenician, Aleph, Hebrew, Aleph, Aramaic Aleph, Syriac Aleph, and Arabic Aleph. The Phoenician letter is derived from an Egyptian hieroglyph depicting an ox's head and gave rise to the Greek alpha, being reinterpreted to express not the glottal consonant but the accompanying vowel, and hence the Latin A in Cyrillic. In phonetics, Aleph, LF, originally represented the glottal stop, often transliterated as U plus O2BE, based on the Greek spiritus lenish. For example, in the transliteration of the letter name itself, Aleph Origin. The name Aleph is derived from the West Semitic word for ox, and the shape of the letter derives from a Proto-Sinaitic glyph that may have been based on an Egyptian hieroglyph which depicts an ox's head. In modern Standard Arabic, the word Aleph literally means tamed or familiar, derived from the root Aleph, from which the verb alepha means to be acquainted with, to be on intimate terms with. In modern Hebrew, the same root Aleph gives Olaf, the passive participle of the verb li-aleph, meaning trained or tamed. The IDF rank of Olaf, taken from an Edomite title of nobility, is also cognate. Aramaic. The Aramaic reflex of the letter is conventionally represented with the Hebrew in typography for convenience, but the actual graphic form varied significantly over the long history and wide geographic extent of Aramaic usage. Meraktin identifies three different Aleph traditions in East Arabian coins. A lapidary Aramaic form which realizes it as a combination of a V-shape and a straight stroke attached to the apex, much like a Latin K. A cursive Aramaic form he calls the elaborated X form, essentially the same tradition as the Hebrew reflex, and an extremely cursive form that consists of two crossed oblique lines, much like a simple Latin X. Hebrew, written as, spelled as and transcribed as Aleph. In modern Israeli Hebrew, the letter either represents a glottal stop or indicates a hiatus, as well as sometimes being silent. The pronunciation varies among Jewish ethnic groups. In gematria, Aleph represents the number 1, and when used at the beginning of Hebrew years, it means 1000. Aleph, along with Ayin, Resh, and Heth, cannot receive a dagesh. In modern Hebrew, the frequency of the usage of Aleph, out of all the letters, is 4.94%. Aleph is sometimes used as a metalectionized to denote a vowel, usually a. Such use is more common in words of Aramaic and Arabic origin, in foreign names and some other borrowed words. Rabbinic Judaism. Aleph is the subject of a midrash which praises its humility in not demanding to start the Bible. In this folktale, Aleph is rewarded by being allowed to start the Ten Commandments. In the Sefer Yetzirah, the letter Aleph is king over breath, formed air in the universe, temperate in the year, and the chest in the soul. Aleph is also the first letter of the Hebrew word emet, which means truth. In Jewish mythology, it was the letter Aleph that was carved into the head of the golem which ultimately gave it life. Aleph also begins the three words that make up God's mystical name in Exodus, I am who I am, and Aleph is an important part of mystical amulets and formulas. Aleph in Jewish mysticism represents the oneness of God. The letter can be seen as being composed of an upper yud, a lower yud, and a vav leaning on a diagonal. The upper yud represents the hidden and ineffable aspects of God, while the lower yud represents God's revelation and presence in the world. The vav connects the two realms. Jewish mysticism relates Aleph to the element of air, the fool of the major arcana of the tarot deck, and the scintillating intelligence of the path between Kether and Chokmah in the tree of the Sephiroth. Hebrew sayings with Aleph from Aleph to Tav describes something from beginning to end. The Hebrew equivalent of the English from A to Z. One who doesn't know how to make an Aleph is someone who is illiterate. No, with a big Aleph, means absolutely not. Syriac, Aleph, Olaf. In the Syriac alphabet, the first letter is Syriac, Aleph or Olaf. It is used in word initial position to mark a word beginning with a vowel, although some words beginning with I or U do not need its help. and sometimes an initial Alap. Olaf is elided. The letter occurs very regularly at the end of words, where it represents the long final vowels O, A or E. In the middle of the word, the letter represents either a glottal stop between vowels, a long I, E, or is silent. Arabic. Written as, spelled as and transliterated as Aleph, it is the first letter in Arabic. Together with Hebrew Aleph, Greek Alpha and Latin A, it is descended from Phoenician Aleph, from a reconstructed Proto-Canaanite Alp, Ox. Aleph is written in one of the following ways depending on its position in the word. Arabic variants. Historically, the Arabic letter was used to render either a long A or a glottal stop. This led to orthographical confusion, and to introduction of the additional letter Hamza Qat. Hamza is not considered a full letter in Arabic orthography. In most cases it appears on a carrier, either a waw, a dotless ya, or an Aleph. The choice of carrier depends on complicated orthographic rules. Aleph is generally the carrier where the only adjacent vowel is father. It is the only possible carrier where Hamza is the first phoneme of a word. Where Aleph acts as a carrier for Hamza, Hamza is added above the Aleph, or, for initial Aleph, Kasra, below it, indicating that the letter so modified does indeed signify a glottal stop, and not a long vowel. A second type of Hamza, Hamza wasl, occurs only as the initial phoneme of the definite article, and in some related cases, it differs from Hamza Qat, in that it is elided after a preceding vowel. Again, Aleph is always the carrier. The Aleph Madra is, as it were, a double Aleph, expressing both a glottal stop and a long vowel. For example in Akir, or Xir, last. It has become standard for a Hamza followed by a long A to be written as two Alafs, one vertical and one horizontal. The Aleph Maksura, commonly known in Egypt as Aleph Layana, looks like a dotless ya, and may only appear at the end of a word. Although it looks different from a regular Aleph, it represents the same sound, often realized as a short vowel. When written, Aleph Maksura is indistinguishable from final Persian yi or Arabic ya as it is written in Egypt, Sudan, and sometimes other places. Aleph Maksura is transliterated as A in Ala LC, A in DIN 31635, A in ISO 233-2, and Y in ISO 233. Numeral as a numeral. Aleph, Olaf stands for the number 1. With a dot below, it is the number 1000, with a line above it. Aleph, Olaf will represent 1 million. With a line below it is 10,000, and with two dots below it is 10 million. Ancient Egyptian. The Egyptian vulture hieroglyph, by convention pronounced A, is also referred to as Aleph, on grounds that it has traditionally been taken to represent a glottal stop, although some recent suggestions tend towards a sound instead. The phoneme is commonly transliterated by a symbol composed of two half rings. In Unicode encoded at U plus A 722 Latin capital letter EGYPTOLOGICALALEF and U plus A 723 Latin small letter EGYPTOLOGICALALEF. A fallback representation is the numeral 3, or the Middle English character yod, neither are to be preferred to the genuine Egyptological characters. Other uses. Mathematics. In set theory, the Hebrew Aleph glyph is used as the symbol to denote the Aleph numbers, which represent the cardinality of infinite sets. This notation was introduced by mathematician Georg Cantor. In older mathematics books, the letter Aleph is often printed upside down by accident, partly because a monotype matrix for Aleph was mistakenly constructed the wrong way up. Character encodings.